Welcome to the studio of Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. 10x your business with digital marketing from Just Minding My Business Media, LLC on JMMB Media TV or Mindset Movers TV. Contact us, jmmbradio@gmail.com. In this perfect day, we hope you open your eyes to all the good that is present. Today, we continue a series of interviews of contributing authors from the upcoming anthology release, Drop the Mask, Share the Crown, inspired by the visionary author Dawn Lieck, who is herself an international author, speaker, and 4 times best-selling author. Today, we welcome Sheila Farr, who is a 4-time best-selling author, business strategist, and teacher, with a reputation for serving others with pure enthusiasm. The object of her profession is to help struggling business owners overcome obstacles and achieve their biggest dreams. Sheila is the proud CEO of Gulf Coast Training and Education Services, LLC, in Biloxi, Mississippi. She is changing the world one business at a time. Now she's also part of the soon-to-be-released anthology, Drop the Mask, Share the Crown. Welcome, Sheila.
Hi, how are you both this evening?
How are you?
Very good.
I'm fabulous. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me back.
Yes, indeed. Good. It's always good to see you. You know, you're my sunshine. So tell us how you got started with your business.
Oh, my business. Well, I'll tell you, it's one of those things where you're working that corporate 9 to 5 and you just realize that it doesn't fit you anymore. So one day I just realized that I was doing a lot of helping people outside of work, just doing business plans for other people, kind of looking at their marketing plans and helping them turn their businesses around. And all of my friends are like, man, you should really be doing this on your own. You should do this. Like, this should be your job. And I was working in medical management at the time and having a blast doing it. But actually, honestly, you'll always hear me say this. This is the way that God works. He gives you that little holy push sometimes and gets you out of your comfort zone and into those uncomfortable places that really allow you to grow. And that's what happened to me. Our organization was sold. Our private physical therapy practice was sold to a corporate entity. So honestly, my position changed a little bit and it allowed me to do some more things. So I started my own business on the side, just started doing it in the evenings and on weekends. And 4 years later, here we are, Gulf Coast Training and Education Services. So that's how we got started.
All righty now. That is all right. And usually I like what you said, the holy push.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it is for some of us.
Right. Right. Because I never would have done it otherwise. I would have, I'm comfortable just sitting there collecting that direct deposit that comes on a regular basis. And I never dreamed, that I would get out and do anything for my own or anything different than that. But it's been a huge, huge blessing. And Dawn laughs at me all the time because I tell her, man, I'm just having so much fun. I'm having such a good time, just enjoying the people that we meet and the things that we do. And honestly, I think I'm able to help more people this way because especially in the past year, we've gone international with some things. So it's been honestly just a huge, huge blessing for us.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. That is so wonderful. We got Bobby doing a shout out. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
And here she is again. Exactly. The holy push. I'm going to be using that. I like that.
I like that too. Yeah. Sometimes we need it.
Yes, we do.
Definitely.
Yes, we do. So let's talk a little bit about Drop the Mask and Share the Crown.
Yes.
What
So
is
excited.
your chapter? Give us a little sneak peek.
Sure. So the title of my chapter is being different than the world. So, and what it talks about, honestly, overall, is really just that, being different than the world. We live in a world that there are all kinds of, prejudices of all sorts. So I think a big part of what I would like to share and is just a bit of encouragement to have, especially parents and communities and aunts and uncles and everybody that has an opportunity to be an influence to a young child, to teach them better. I really believe, I hear it a lot, when you know better, you should do better. And I do believe that. And I really just think that, we were called for a specific purpose, and we were called for a mission. And when we're excluding people and talking negatively about people and really being roadblocks and stumbling blocks for other people, we're not working and walking in our mission. So really it's a little bit about that. So it kind of talks about some experiences I had as a young child that caused me to start putting masks on. Then how, as a young adult, my eyes were kind of open to some things that allowed me to start taking masks off and encouraging people to kind of do some things differently.
Wow. That's going to be an excellent read, because I think we've all had masks, and it all starts from childhood, because whatever mask our parents was wearing, of course, they're going to pass the mask down to us until we get out into the world and see differently. Definitely. It's definitely important that that we all take these masks off, because they're not serving us.
No.
None of us.
No.
When you walk around being something that you're not, it's hard. It doesn't even feel right.
Right. Well, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. We're all humans put here to live and to serve, and we may as well do it together and collaboratively, helping each other as opposed to tearing each other down and apart. To me, that never has made sense. Thankfully, my parents raised me to believe that, everybody deserves love, respect, and kindness. But I think all of us have a story where we didn't receive that from somebody at some point in our lives. And it caused us to really stop and think about things. Sometimes it makes us conform to the world a little bit more, because we don't want to stand out, when holy moly, the Lord made us to stand out. So we the things that we ought to be really celebrating, the differences, and the individuality that we each have, that gets squelched oftentimes. And I think that's unfortunate, because honestly, that's the joy of living, is just being able to be authentic and walk in your purpose and do what the Lord called you to do. And we spend our whole lives. I'm 56 years old, and man, I can tell you, I've spent the better part of my life trying to get to this point right here, which I should have been at a long time ago, because I should have started that way. We should start that way and be able to live just happy and in our purpose without trying to be people pleasers or conform to what society tells us we should be, do, or look like. So I'm pretty thankful that it's, I've had the process that I've had, because now it gives me an opportunity to kind of see it in other people and bring them out of it. So it's really, it's a neat thing. That's why I love this book so much, because there's all the stories, while they're, again, also similar, they're all very different, because we've all had those different experiences. But we all agree that it's time to move past a lot of junk that happens in our lives and in society, and just, love each other and help each other. That's what we're here for.
Exactly. And it's a much better feeling.
Yes.
Anytime that you do something nice for somebody, it does something to them, and it also does something to you.
Absolutely.
It's a really good vibration, exchange of vibrations. You know what I mean? It's just a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
And when you have to be mean to somebody, it doesn't make you feel good. You don't have a good feeling. And so why even do it?
Because we've been trained to do it. We've been trained to send out negativity and negative vibrations, and we do it as a protection, quote unquote, protection, but it's not. It is not. And that's the beauty, again, of the title of this anthology, Dropping the Mask. We're talking about becoming authentic. All the masks that we've been trained from, sometimes before we're even born, we're already handed all types of masks. And then once we're born, we're told to wear them. And we do because the hands that feed us are the hands that we're going to listen to.
Right.
You know, we're not capable of taking care of ourselves. And by the time that we realize that we're uncomfortable wearing that mask, sometimes it's late in life.
Mhm.
We finally say, this is not me. This is not who I want to be. And guess what? I don't know who I am. So now it comes the time of exploration. And again, that's when you start dropping all the masks. And the older you get, the less you care. You less care about people, what they think about who you're supposed to be. And then you're more willing, you're in the space to share the crown because you want everyone to feel good and feel good about themselves. You know, have that joy of waking up in the morning and saying, it's me. I like me. I love me. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sheila, for sharing. You'll be right back, but we're going to keep it moving for the moment and
thank you.
Bring up our next guest. So thank you so much, Sheila.
Thank you very much.
Sheila Sunshine.
Okay.
Okay, Ruthie. Who do we have up next?
Excuse me. We have Tanya Williams, who is an entrepreneur, author, life coach, seminarian, and podcaster. Her motto is teamwork makes the dream work. To that end, she helps young women to apply biblical principles and practical life methods to achieve personal greatness through her personally founded mentorship program, GRACE, Girls Rising Above Challenging Experiences. While helping others to become the best version of themselves, Tanya also wrote her first book entitled The Best Version of Me. Now she is part of the soon-to-be released anthology, Drop the Mask, Share the Crown. Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you, ladies, so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Another sunshine. Love your hair. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So tell us about your business. I'm loving what I'm hearing already.
Well, I actually started out in ministry. And as I was going through school, I just kept praying and asking God, okay, God, what are you going to do with this? And all I heard was outside four walls. And I actually laughed because I thought, this must be some sick joke because I just really figured out how inside the church works. Now you want me to go outside. But, we all know that God doesn't give us all the pieces to the puzzle. He either gives us the beginning or the end because it's in the middle. If he showed us that, we would quit because that's where all the hard work really begins. So long story short, my husband's in the entertainment industry. And so we spend a lot of weekends in the club and people just are drawn to me and they'll come up and they'll share their stories with me. And the moment I would tell them I was in ministry, it's just like they would just back away from me and they really didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I was just like so upset by that because I was like, I love helping people. What is it? And so I really started talking to people and they're like, well, a lot of people feel judged or they've had church hurt and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I thought about it and I was like, well, I can relate to that. I've been judged and I've had church hurt. And so I began to pray and, I never liked to speak. Imagine that. But I used to be like really shy. And so God started giving me those little pieces of the puzzle with the podcast. And I think that's how he got me used to talking behind the scenes where they could hear my voice, but it created a way for me to be comfortable with actually being a speaker. So that's really how I became a life coach because now people, when I deal with those same people, they're like, oh, a life coach, tell me about that. That's interesting. And they don't pull away from me anymore. So that was that little piece of the puzzle that he used with that outside four walls that I've used to actually help apply biblical principle to people and help them in the same way.
Yes. And that's amazing because a lot of times people will shun away when you start to talk about biblically. Get that out. But the minute you start talking about inside out type stuff, they seem to be more drawn to that. even though, as to me, as a life coach, that is definitely in realm with what God wants you to do, because He wants you to help people to live better from the inside out. He really does. And that's what I saw, because I remember when I first started in the coaching arena, the first thing my mom said was, I don't hear no Jesus in there. That's exactly what she said. But then after she saw me changing because of what I was doing, working from the inside out, she began to see a little bit better on, how it is related spiritually.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to come to people with an actual verse from the Bible, but you can start there and lead them in that direction, and they'll be more receptive to it.
And oftentimes, even when we provide them with a verse or a scripture, they really don't know what to do with it. So I find that if we share our life experiences and we're just real and relatable, that's how we're going to reach people.
Absolutely. Got a shout out from Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ruth, go right ahead.
No, I just saying that, that's so important. Like just the way that we have conversations here, the best way to approach people is to start a conversation, find a common ground. And then sometimes you can interlace Bible principles. They may not recognize it at first, but they hear something that is good for them. It's what they needed to hear. Maybe they needed a word of comfort. Maybe they needed to know that in all the craziness that's going on, there is something better. There's, they can have a better life, even amidst all this craziness. And if you can bring the Bible principles into it, then that's what they hear. And that's what they grab hold to. And then they're going to want to hear more. It's like having a good meal. Someone gives you a taste of something that you don't know what it is, but it tastes really good. Then you want more. You're willing to sit down at the table and enjoy the entire feast. And that's what the Bible is like. It's like having a movable feast, able to eat what you need and really get nourished from it. So I admire you for the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you so
much. How do you translate that into your organization, Grace?
Basically the same way. Grace was actually formed years prior, before I even got into ministry. I love helping young girls and women, and that was just another piece of the puzzle that God gave me prior to ministry. Starting a mentorship to help young girls and women, and really it's just to help them in the areas of how to dress for an interview, the questions you should ask and how to answer, how to budget with money and things like that, things to prepare them stepping into adulthood that maybe they don't have that foundation at home, and just really just being a mentor and somebody positive in their life, because not every young lady has someone in their life to fulfill those things.
Okay.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. So tell us about your chapter in Drop the Mask and Share the Crown.
Well, the name of my chapter is Heavy is the Head That Wears the Crown. Everybody wants the crown, but they really don't realize how much work goes into it and the heaviness of it. So I talk a little bit of some of my experiences in the life coaching arena, in the speaking arena, and some of the pettiness in the I guess maybe the competition behind it. And then I go into sharing also how if you collaborate with people, just like how much you get out of that if you collaborate with the right people. So in order to get to that part, I had to share the pieces that were not so glamorous in order to get to the part about the collaboration. But I think it's something that everybody needs to hear, because even though we all may be in the same arena or somehow connected, there's still room for us all to thrive and eat well. There's no need for us to compete or, sabotage one another or any kind of jealousy or things like that. So I'm all about teamwork makes the dream work. So I think, if I collaborate with you, your people become my people and my people become your people. So it just grows into this really big thing, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes. Absolutely. I'm a weebie too. I believe in collaboration wholeheartedly because I know that I don't know everything. I can't think about everything. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I really don't want to. And I like to have that energy around me that helps me grow. And it's just so important. I mean, no man is an island. And like I said, always say, since the day you were born, you were never by yourself. You never did everything by yourself. You will never do everything by yourself.
Mm.
It's impossible.
And I think we're better together because
Yes,
the
we
areas
are.
that I lack, you know, that may be a talent or gift for you. And, you know, we just feed off of one another's energy or our differences or whatever it may be.
Yes, and it's fun. It's actually a fun when you're collaborating with
Yeah,
people,
it is.
and it's just before you know it, hours have passed, and you don't even think about time because you're having such a great time in the moment, and that's what I love about collaboration. It's like, it's fun actually.
Mhm.
It's fun. You learn something. Uh, it's just a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful place to be. So, Tanya, we really appreciate you sharing. So, we're going to bring up our next Drop the Mask, Share the Crown author and bring you back in a few moments. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, that was powerful.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I'm a weebie. I love working together and collaborating with people. It just creates so much synergy. So,
Yeah.
who do we have next, Miss Ruth?
We have Anika Cohen, who is an international speaker, business strategist coach, 4-time best-selling author, certified Christian life coach, and counselor of co-occurring disorders. Anika propels her community to set intentions to create intentional strategic movement forward that will formulate transformation mentally, emotionally, and physically in their lifestyles. It's Anika's mantra that minor steps create major impact. In that vein, she continues to take minor steps in her life as a contributing author to the soon-to-be released, sure-to-be success anthology, Drop the Mask, Share the Crown. Welcome, Anika.
Yes. Well,
Hello, ladies.
wow. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, tell us a little bit about how you got started on the road that you're on now.
It was November 2007 when two masked gunmen entered my home and held me at gunpoint while my 3 and my 4-year-old sons was in the next room. And so it was in that moment when I was bound, my hands, my legs, my mouth duct tape as I laid on the floor with the barrel to my head. And he asked me the question, he says, Anika, are you ready to die? And so it was literally in that moment that I began to chant silently to God. And I just began to say, if you give me another chance at life, if you give me another chance to do it over, I'll choose to do something different. Although I did not know what it looked or what it felt like to do anything different outside of the lifestyle that I was living, because my lifestyle was drug addiction. You know, I was using and I was selling drugs. And so I just lost sight of my dreams and aspirations. But it was in that moment of November 2007, as I laid prostrate before the Lord in my eyes, chanting for my life. I just began to say, I choose to live. I choose to live. I choose to live. And those two masked gunmen, they left my home and I was unhurt, unharmed. My 3 and my 4-year-old son was able to wake up to a mother, not a motherless body. And so it was from that moment moving forward, I gave God my yes. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I gave him my yes because I grew up in the church. I knew who God was, but I really didn't know who he was until he showed up in my life that day. And so I just began to figure it out. I gave my life to Christ and I began to figure out what my purpose was. And that led me to this path of publishing my first memoir, Diaries of an Elect Lady. And it was my first memoir. I became a best-selling author. And I just began to share my story. And it was with me sharing my story that I learned that my authenticity, me being vulnerable, me being transparent, was attracting women. It was attracting even men, and they were choosing to live. They were choosing to do something different. And so I was like, oh my gosh, my voice is power. My voice is power. And so that started my business, Choose to Live Enterprises, where we help individuals bring their dreams into a reality by start building or growing their business.
Wow. What an amazing story. What a testimonial.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And the prayer that you said, it's just very moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is said that there comes a time in everyone's life, but especially in anyone who has had a problem with addiction, some form of addiction, because there's so many forms.
Right.
It's called the addict's prayer. And it's called, God help me, period. There's no, if I do this, if I do that, there's no bargaining. You get to that place, and that's where you were. You were in that place. There was no bargaining. It was, God help me now.
Yes.
And that's powerful. That's
Yes.
how, and the fact that he did, that those men actually left and did not harm you at all, did not go in and harm your children. Only God could do that.
Only God can do that.
Only God could do that.
The miracle in that
Absolutely.
was that they left, but they only took a PlayStation. That's what they took. And although I know what their intentions were to kill me. Because God works in mysterious ways. He was warning me time and time again to leave the relationship, leave the world. And I had one foot in and I had one foot out. And I just was so dependent on the lifestyle of, I don't know what to do if I'm not going to be in this relationship. So in that, I learned that I had my own identity. I learned to take back my dependence of men and rely on God and my ability to allow him to use me for who I am, because I'm not ashamed to say it. I depended on a man at that time to take care of me. And so now my ministry, my business is all about just helping women to own who they are. You don't have to live based on your past, because we all have one, but you can choose to do something different, and you can choose to do it in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Very fine.
Wow.
Very fine.
Wow. We got our Bobby out there.
And there's Anika.
Yes.
Yeah. Powerful story, powerful testimony.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
I hope people hear that and recognize the fact that, like you said, we all have a past. If you're old enough and you've lived long enough, we have a past, okay? But it doesn't have to be your future. It doesn't have to be your present. It doesn't have to be your future. You don't have to live there. You don't have to keep doing the same thing that you really don't want to do. And finding yourself is just so critical. And I think this world right now is about people finding themselves. And I see so much work happening with women who are really saying, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I know that there's something better for me, and recognizing that it's attached to the understanding of the God of their understanding. Mm-hmm. That's where their power lies. And that's what we keep hearing on this program over and over again, that the power that we need, we have, and it is aligned with the God of our understanding. Mm-hmm. So that is we just love the stories that come to us. And I'm going to remember yours. That is a powerful testimony to survive at gunpoint. Yeah, mm-hmm. I can understand that one. I understand.
Yes, for real. So drop the mask and share the crown. Give us a little bit of sneak peek about what you wrote about.
My title in the book is called 3 Power Principles of Collaboration in Career, Life, and Business. What I'm sharing is that in order to be successful in your own right, whatever that looks like and feels like to you, connection is the key. Collaboration is the key, because Miss Crawford said it earlier, you cannot do it alone. We weren't meant to do it alone. We need each other. And so I really share about these principles and how they're practical. And if we can just lay aside the ego, if we can just lay aside the pride, if we can just lay aside those things that doesn't serve us or anyone else, we will be better off. We just have to make a choice to be vulnerable, allow ourselves to not know all the answers, because that's the problem most of the time, is we feel like we have to know all the answers. I gotta get it right the first time. And I'm here to tell you that if you just give yourself grace, right? Give yourself permission to embrace the entire journey, you'll be better off. So the power in you being successful is collaboration. The power is in the connections, because my network is always growing. And I believe that we are as big as our network. So I am intentional with surrounding myself with like-minded individuals. I'm intentional with linking arms with people who are on a higher prestige than me. They may be making 6-7 figures. That doesn't intimidate me anymore, right? Because I choose to put on a new mindset. I choose to say that I deserve a seat at the table as well. So I create the space. I create the opportunity by what? Linking arms, connecting, collaborating with like-minded individuals. So I run you down with those principles that are practical and you can begin to implement right away to make the difference in your own life, to create the narrative of your own life, and not allowing the words or the judgment of other people to hold you hostage. It's time for you to choose to live. It's time for you to choose to propel forward, because you owe it to yourself, nobody else. You owe it to yourself to choose to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I love it.
I
love it. I
choosing
love
to
it.
live.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I love you, Bobby.
Love you, Bobby. Thank you. Love me some insiders. Love you back. Mwah.
Yeah. You
Wow,
have to
that
learn
was
how to choose to
really
live.
powerful and so true, because a lot of times people do get intimidated being in a room with a 6-figure earner.
Yeah.
I mean, and I have to say I was there at one point, but not anymore. I know the power of being around a 6-figure
Yes.
earner.
Mm.
It all rubs off.
Amen.
It
Amen.
all rubs off because you are the product of your circle.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that saying, Ruth? The 8 people that you hang around with is consistent with your income, or something to
Right.
that effect. I think
Yeah.
you guys can, I can't
I
always
can
get it
remember
right,
that one, but yes.
yeah, but I mean, you got to put the right people in your circle to grow. Even as I always say, if your muscle ain't strong enough, lean on somebody else's muscle
Yes.
and help build yours.
Right.
Because I mean, it's hard to change. Change is so difficult. Anyway, any way you slice it, it's hard. It's like creating good habits. It's very, very difficult. It's like that bad stuff want to latch onto you with the quickness. It's like all them bad habits. It's like they just like sitting there waiting to latch on. Whereas the good ones, you gotta really grab for them, and you really have to work hard to adapt them as part of your DNA. So, wow.
Well,
We are so happy that I can't wait till this book comes out.
yes, this is going to be a powerful book.
It's just going to change a whole lot of lives.
Absolutely.
A whole lot of lives. So we're going to bring everybody back in, because now we're going to do some round tabling.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and add everybody back in. Okay, am I missing anybody?
Nope.
Okay, everybody's here. Wow. You ladies are bringing it. I am so happy to know all of you. All of you have made such a difference in my own life. And the more I collaborate with you ladies, the more I learn, the more excited I get about what God has next. So with this book, I believe it's going to change lives at every level. So let's talk about that a little bit. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's going to ruffle feathers at some levels. And I think that's a good thing, because I think some feathers need to be ruffled. Like I was listening to Tanya talk, and, I've heard her say it before, and I've seen it too, how people can get really petty, in the world that we live in about anything. It could be at home, it could be at work, it could be wherever. So I think really kind of bringing those issues up and, shining a light on those things, it'll give people an opportunity to learn some things. And I think that's important. Whenever people, it's easy to go with the flow and go with the crowd and just kind of do, whatever, as long as you're not called on it, but when somebody shines a light on the things that are happening in real life and what's really going on, I think that's a really neat thing, because it gives you an opportunity to respond and learn. So I'm looking forward to that about this book, because I've talked to some of the people, so I know a few of the stories, and woo-wee, it's going to be good. I'm excited.
Yes, indeed. Tanya, you laid it out. Yes, indeed. Drop that mask and share the crown. Why is that so important?
Well, I think to piggyback off what Miss Sheila said, I think the stories told in this book will also make you do a self-check. And sometimes a self-check is needed. But I honestly think this book could not come out at a better time than now. We're dealing with so many issues just globally. And I think it's a good positive spin on seeing women of all color, background, no matter what their business is, just come together and collaborate and, show people that, women don't have to be petty, that, we want to see each other succeed and we can help one another succeed, but we got to just join arms and do it, like Anika said.
Right. Absolutely. Let's join arms and do it. I say Bobby Crocker is really cheering us on tonight. So let me see. Okay. Bobby Crocker, I was so afraid to submit my chapter, but I had things to say, and I'm sure that there are other women of my age and race that feel the same way and agree the same way. It's okay. We fixed it. Yes, and it's always somebody. There's nothing new on the earth.
That's right.
Nothing new. So if you feel it, if it's happened to you, it's happened to someone else.
And I love the fact that Bobby Crocker brought up that issue that so many of us are afraid to give our chapter, to open our mouths and speak about the truth of our experiences. And, there are so many reasons you think that all of a sudden the whole world is going to know what you've done, like the world is paying attention. But, to get over that fear, and I commend each one of you for doing that, to getting past whatever fears you had, trepidations, and doing it, getting it done. That's really encouraging. It's encouraging.
It really is. And it's always scary to put your laundry out, so to speak.
It's also so freeing, because once it's out there, you can't take it back. And it's like, what could they possibly throw on my face? It's out there for the world to read. So
right. I have a saying that I often say is that when you take back, you often take back your power the moment you speak the truth, and you don't allow people to dangle it over your head, because you spoke about it, it's over. What can you say? I already spoke about it, right? And so that's one thing that I learned early on, because a lot of people still today, they know me from Nika from the hood, Nika from Manchester. And I have to tell them, I'm still her. I'm still here. I just changed my perspective. I just changed my outlook on life. So oftentimes, again, it has to start in our mind with changing the way that we perceive our life to be. It doesn't have to be what others say that it's going to be.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Nika, you're so right, because everybody wants change, but nobody wants to be the change. So
Yes.
I think this is what this book is about. It's we want the change. So in order to change, we've got to be the change.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it always starts from us.
Yeah.
It always starts from us. We got some shout outs from Hi, Miss Clark. Yes, self-evaluation is always needed. I call it stepping outside myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to do it a lot. Because like I said before, bad habits will latch right on to quickness. So you have to constantly, look inside yourself and make sure your alignment is still aligned the way it's supposed to be. And I'm telling you, I do it very often, because you're moving around so much, you're doing this and you're doing that. Sometimes you have to do a self-evaluation. Okay, am I still aligned with what God wants me to do? And just make sure.
Yeah. It's easy to get out of alignment in this world.
Yes.
It's easy.
Yes. And
Just watch the
lifting each
news.
other up. Thank you, Miss Clark.
Yeah. Thank you, Antoinette.
Yes. And she says, very freeing. Yeah. Telling your story is so freeing, because you feel like as soon as you make that decision that you're going to tell it, it's like this breath of fresh air just comes over you. You haven't even told the story yet, but you make the decision, yes, I'm going to tell this story. And then as you're doing it, you still start to feel some kind of way, but you just go ahead and do it. And once it's out there, it's like, whew, finally free. For sure. Well, we can't wait until the book is out. I can't wait to read the other chapters in this book. And ladies and gentlemen, May the 13th is the drop date.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yes. You want to get this book May the 13th. Don't delay. It's going to be ready for you to get. We know that this book is going to be a bestseller because God said so. And God loves it when his people are telling the truth and uplifting other people. He just loves that. I mean, it's like, and he put us here to do that. He do all the work. We're the soldiers. We're supposed to do the work. You know what I'm saying? He helps us get the work done, just like we help our children, to do things. He treats us the same exact way. So I'm looking forward to this book. I am so glad, like I said before, that God brought all of you in my life. I know I'm a better person for it. And I'm looking forward to what God has next. So
that's always interesting.
Yes, because you just never know what he has. Every day I wake up, Lord, what you going to do today? And then I just move with the flow.
Always wake up with expectancy.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, we want to thank you, ladies, for joining us. We really appreciate you, and looking forward to reading the chapters. And I know everybody else is looking forward to it as well. And as always, Just Minding My Business Media always loves to bring you news and views that you can use. So thank you again.